For our journal entry today, we are going to practice drawing three-dimensional shapes. The first shape we will draw is a cone. Start by drawing two diagonal lines that resemble a triangle and connect the bottom with a curved line. The source of our sun is coming from the side. How to shade this to make it look three-dimensional is to start on the corner edge and color it in very dark. This is because the sun is not hitting this part of the cone. Go from side to side, and as you go toward the light source, the shading will become lighter. Wherever the light hits, that arrow represents a light source like a lamp or the sun. It's going to be bright white. And the closer it gets away from the sun, it will have a dark shadow or shade. So you start out darker at the very edge, and as you go toward that light source, it becomes lighter. You do this by applying less pressure with your pencil as you get closer to that arrow. You can erase parts if they're too dark, and you can kind of smudge it a little bit with your finger to make it seem like it's blended better. Typically, this isn't the best way to shade by blending with your finger, but using your pencil as you go towards the light source, you just lift up slightly as you go. And then you'll draw a little tiny shadow. This shadow is cast from the cone. The next shape we will draw is a sphere. Begin by drawing a circle. The light source is coming from that direction. So I will shade dark on the very corner edge that's facing away from the sun. As I go toward that arrow, my pencil lifts and it becomes lighter and lighter. I shade by sometimes doing a light circle motion. I don't press too hard with my pencil. I think sometimes students can get into a habit of pressing really hard, but it's just a light, gentle side to side, almost like you're doing a rubbing as you get closer to that arrow. And then you can go back to the part that's further away from the arrow and color that in darker. Sometimes I go over it again with a circle motion to blend those lines together. And then I draw the shadow. Darker as you're closer to the sphere, and as you come out further, it becomes lighter. And the last three-dimensional shape we'll be practicing is a cube. Now, you can draw a cube with a ruler, and technically this cube should be measured if you'd like it to be perfect, but I'm sort of freehanding my cube. As you can see, my lines are not perfect, but if you want the lines to be perfect, I would use a ruler and I would measure each line the same length. This is my free-handed version of a cube, and you can tell that that line is not really perfect. The main basics of a cube are you draw a line, and then you draw two lines coming out, going diagonally, and then you match the line to be parallel with the line that you drew before. I'll draw this again so you can see it a bit better. First, you start with a straight line. Then you draw another line. Then draw another line coming out of that corner diagonally. Then go to the other part and draw a diagonal line. Connect those lines across. Bring the line coming down just a little bit longer than the back line. And I made mine a little shorter, so I'm going to erase that back line. Connect them. and so there are 2 cubes. If you have trouble with this in class, I'll draw it again on the board a little more accurately. So how to shade a cube is the same concept as shading a sphere and a cone. Wherever the light is hitting, it's white, and the parts that are further away from the light are dark. So the part of the cube, that square shape or rectangle shape that's facing furthest away from the sun, it's going to be dark black because nothing is showing, the sun isn't hitting it at all. So that whole side of the cube is shaded. And then the front, the edge, and as it gets closer to that arrow, it's whiter. So it's darker at where the lines meet, but as it gets closer to the arrow, it becomes lighter. The pressure from your pencil lifts. And then you shade the back portion to cast that shadow. And if you drew more than 1 cube, practice shading the other cube that you have drawn. Once you've drawn your cube, your sphere, and your cone, turn the page to your folded paper and draw another sphere, cube, and cone. What you're going to do with this sphere, cube, and cone is turn it into a 3-dimensional object. Maybe you want to turn your cube into a house. Maybe you want to turn it into a robot. Maybe you want to turn the cone into a birthday hat. So turn each shape into a 3D object of your choice. A ball, present, a house, a birthday hat. So I can't wait to see some of your creative ideas on what you choose to turn those cones, spheres, and cubes into.